What's up, guys? Welcome back. Today I want to talk to you about some of my favorite carb sources for building muscle. Now, after the age of 40, for me, building muscle isn't about dirty bulks. It's not about putting on a bunch of excessive weight that I eventually have to take off and do a ton of cardio and work extremely hard at in the cutting phase. So for me, it's about bulking, but bulking smart. So let's call it a lean bulk. So in this video, I'm going to talk to you about over the last 5 months, how I was able to put on probably close to 8 pounds of muscle, ran my weight up 20 plus pounds, and really optimized the way that I feel, the way that I digest, the way that I train, the way that I sleep, without adding all the excessive body fat. So some of the carbs, as we go through this, I'm going to tell you the ones that I use and why I use them. So the first one is going to be cream of rice. Cream of rice, why? Because it's highly refined. It's gluten-free, it digests extremely easy, it's higher on that glycemic index, but it also means that you're able to digest, absorb cream of rice very easily. The goal of all of these carbs is to do that. I do not want things sitting in my stomach that are going to take a long time to digest. I noticed to be able to push calories, when I had to eat 80, 90 grams of oats, it left me full for a long time because it's a slow burning carb. When it's a slow burning carb, it required a lot more energy for my body to digest that. So I wasn't ready for my next meals. If you're gonna be able to put on size, you need to be able to eat carbohydrates, enough of them to build the muscle. Now, when you're eating and increasing your carbs, you need to make sure that your body can go from kind of a storage unit phase to a furnace phase where it's burning rapidly through those carbs. And as you go week to week, you assess and you increase those carbs as needed. When I first started out, I was only able to eat 35 grams of cream of rice because cream of rice is very voluminous, right? So it was a big bowl. Now I eat 70 grams, 75 grams, 80 grams of cream of rice. So as I've grown, I've been able to consume a lot more of it, which helps in the training phase. So it's one of my favorite carbs to eat before training and after training. So I use Elevate cream of rice because it's flavored. It's absolutely incredible. And it gives me somewhat of a dessert flavor. What I used to do is sometimes I use the plain Elevate cream of rice and I'll add in my own protein powder. So I can really push protein and carbs, way isolate protein, and digest that easily. The second carb, which is king for me, which is the one that I've used the most over the last 4 years, is jasmine rice. Now you could use basmati rice, you can use any rice. Jasmine rice, if you look it up, it's higher in the glycemic index. It's gonna digest a little bit easier than most, way better than a brown rice or multigrain rice or yellow rice. Better than quinoa. Again, that's a lower glycemic index carb, and it means it's gonna burn slower. So jasmine rice I use strategically where I can eat a lot of jasmine rice either before, after, or post-after training meal. It digests quickly, it keeps me hungry, and it gets me ready for that next meal. The other carb that I really took advantage of this off season is on my leg day, back day, chest day. For dinner, I would use a brown rice quinoa pasta. Why? Because regular pasta has gluten. And man, when you take gluten out for a long time and you put it back in, it really screws up your stomach and it would not digest properly. And that would impact me for a couple of days, not only for a couple of meals. I found that the brown rice pasta, sometimes it can get really mushy and doesn't cook that well. But if you get the brown rice quinoa pasta, it really binds well, tastes just like pasta, and you're able to enjoy it. I made a video on that where I pair it with ground beef and some pasta sauce, and I make this great pasta. High in carbs, high in protein, low in fat. That's been another one. The fourth one that I like to use a lot of is sometimes in between I'll use rice cakes. I use caramel, I use chocolate, I use plain. And to get the calories in, I'll usually eat 2 of them. I'll put a little bit of a nut butter on there, either almond or peanut butter. And depending on where my calories are, sometimes I'll put a sugar-free jelly or a regular all-natural jelly. Again, rice-based, digest really easily, and that's the goal. That's the common theme. You want things that are going to digest so that you can absorb those micronutrients relatively easily. The other thing that I'll eat is potatoes, a white potato or a sweet potato. Both of those are optimal carbs. Lots of different benefits from a micronutrient standpoint. A little bit slower burning on both of those carbs, but give it a good mixture. I'll cut those into pieces, throw them in the air fryer, sometimes put some cinnamon on the sweet potato ones, and they come out incredible. The other ones, I'll just put salt, pepper, and eat with a little bit of sugar-free ketchup. So white potato or sweet potato are my two favorites. And then when it comes to other carbs that may not be on the list, I'll use a rice-based cereal. So Rice Chex, Cookie Crisp, those are my two favorite. And those are sometimes where I'm really trying to push that extra 6 meal. Right after training, I'll do a bowl, 40, 50, 60 grams of a rice-based cereal. So Rice Chex Cinnamon has been probably one of my favorites. And the second favorite there is Cookie Crisp. And I'll mix that with a little bit of water. In that water, I'll put a whey isolate. So I get 50 grams of fast digesting protein. And then I'll also get 50, 60 grams of carbs. Eat that within 30 to 60 minutes of training, and it gets right to work. Yes, it's not a whole food. It's one of the things that isn't a whole food on my list of things that I eat, but because of the timing of those nutrients, it gets right into the bloodstream and it serves its purpose to really help restore and grow that muscle tissue. And then the final carb will be sourdough bread. I started to include sourdough bread because there's lots of good properties within sourdough that help with gut health. And I would include that in my pasta meal. So when I eat pasta, that pasta, brown rice, quinoa pasta, I'd include 55 grams, sometimes up to 75 grams of a fresh sourdough bread. Toast it, eat it, enjoy it. So that would be a higher carb meal. No issues with digestion. And really it was nice. I hadn't had bread in probably a couple of years, but a lot of research led me to realize like, hey, this is a bread that you can't eat. So if you're gonna eat bread, sourdough bread is really king there. And that really compiles my list. If you looked at my cabinet and my fridge and my counters, those are the predominant carbs that you're gonna see all throughout my house and the only ones that I really eat. I don't eat pizza, I don't eat French fries, anything in a seed oil, anything in dairy, anything high in gluten. I stay away from all those things. Not because I don't like them, but I've stayed away from them long enough to know how I feel when I eat them and how I feel when I don't eat them. So I really enjoy more so the process of eating and feeling good after the meal is consumed. Like this, I'm eating within 60 minutes. It'll be digested, it'll be in my bloodstream and ready to put to work in my training session. So stick to those. If you're trying to build muscle or you're trying to lean out, all of these carbs are going to apply. They're going to serve the same purpose. The quantities are going to be different. The timings are going to be different. And if you need help figuring that out for you, which ones are optimal for me and my digestion, when should I eat them, how much of them can I eat, then just reach out. There should be a link in the description where you can book a call with me. It's directly with me. I take all of my calls. Why? Because I'm very selective. I do all the coaching. I don't have any other coaches or nutritionists or trainers in the back end. So I'm very selective with the people that come into my group. If you're a good fit, I'll talk to you about how we can help you get to where you want to go and try to remove those stumbling blocks so we can build a system that works for you. And if you're not a good fit, I'll tell you that as well, but I'll at least give you some direction on how you can solve this problem in your own life and really identify those 4, 5, 6, maybe even 7 carbs that are optimal that you can put on repeat to get your goals. Thanks for watching, guys. Till the next time, I'll see you soon.